It's the end of the day with Ray. Hello, my friends. Hey, there was a big announcement in the IT services space yesterday, and I want to address that because it kind of plays into the conversation I've been having a lot lately, talking about how my friends have to move upstream in their IT services deliverable. You can't count on these low-priced customers anymore. Okay? Those low-priced customers are just going to move to platforms that are controlled by huge corporations like Microsoft and Amazon Web Services and Google. They're just going to move there. It won't be about you losing your customer because you did something wrong. It's just going to be about your customer just calling you up one day and say, I no longer need you, I'm going over here. That's the reality, folks. So don't get too hung up that you're giving the greatest service in the world and your customers are always going to stick with you. If your customer's technology is not complicated, is not sophisticated, and they're not compliant needy, they probably won't need you in the very near future. And so yesterday there was a press release, and that press release was this. I found it on CRN. Datto is exploring sale of company after takeover interest. So people have been talking over there at Datto, right? Hey, we want to buy you. We want to buy you. Oh, maybe we ought to explore some options. If you think about Datto, they just went public about a year ago. Their stock's been kind of flat. And, why are they for sale? A lot of people think that maybe they're for sale because the industry's growing. This is a good sign. I don't think it's necessarily a good sign for the thousands and thousands of small IT services companies. Because I think what's going on is these major players in the space are starting to look at some IT assets out there, and they're trying to figure out how to gobble up these IT assets that the SMB space uses. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about our friends over at Microsoft. Our friends over at Microsoft, they want to be bigger in the cloud than Amazon Web Services. They want to own the space. They have the software. I had Paul Burnett from NetBeat Pro on earlier this week, and we were talking about how Microsoft changed the pricing of 365. What did they call that? New commerce experience. Do you realize that Microsoft could write a check and buy Datto with the money they collect while everybody's eating lunch? Okay? In an hour's worth of revenue, Microsoft could go write a check and buy Datto. If Microsoft bought Datto, are they going to have a new backup experience? When people go to renew their licenses for 365, oh, by the way, we have a backup program. Would Microsoft buy Datto so that they could live with MSPs? Or would Microsoft buy Datto so they could circumvent MSPs? And when I say circumvent, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think Microsoft, like any other company, is going to grow their business with the market. And as the market changes, they want to prepare themselves for those changes. And we all know, because technology is so much less complicated than it was 20 years when the IT services, those MSPs, were born in business. What is that, a 25-year-old business model? It was complicated back then. Servers in people's closets and all this crazy stuff. Well, today it's not that complicated. For millions and millions of customers, it's not that complicated. And when folks like Microsoft start buying up security services companies and start buying up backup services companies, folks, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Microsoft was the one that was talking to them. Folks, I want you to think about the possibilities of this. And I know that our industry would think, oh, maybe some other IT service provider that deals with MSPs would buy Datto. Maybe Tom O'Bravo would buy Datto and put that over with ConnectWise. Folks, I think the better play for Datto is for someone like Microsoft to buy them. And someone like Microsoft would probably pay him a lot more money because Microsoft could have a strategy with him that could disrupt the landscape. So when I'm telling you to move upstream, you got to really start thinking about this, folks, because possibilities become probabilities quicker than ever in this ever-changing world. Some things to think about, because we all know this: status quo is the killer of all that'll be invented. Don't get stuck in status quo, and I'll see you all tomorrow.